Good evening, everybody.
Yep, back again.
We were just discussing Bobby Lee's alcoholism.
Yeah, as I sit here with the bourbon in my hand.
We both do, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was talking about, which, and I'm curious there. So we were talking about for his birthday, I got him bourbon. Quite a few other people
I got to
did.
thinking, I was like, yeah, at least half the birthday gifts I got were bourbon.
But I said this is a safe bet.
Oh, yeah, it's, I mean, yeah, who's not going to love that?
Yeah. I mean,
and I do love it. I mean,
if somebody didn't, then I don't know that I'd be their friend.
But I hadn't really sat here and thought about it. I'm like, actually, the more I thought about it, the more bottles I could come up with that I got for my birthday. I was like, oh gosh, yeah.
Well, like, as you become a man, it's kind of like the gifts. Well, it's like buying a gift for your dad. It gets harder and harder to get a gift. Because dudes, especially, I feel like, dude, when you need something, you get it.
Well, for Father's Day, I'll give a shout out to one of our American companies. I got my dad a shirt from LC King. My brother got him bourbon.
There you go. Yeah.
So
whiskey is just a safe bet.
Yeah. My brother didn't plan ahead as well as I did.
Yeah.
Order something in time. So he was like, "Oh crap, I'm gonna go to the liquor store."
Yeah. Have you ever seen those? Have you seen the Ball and Buck shirts?
Yeah.
I had to buy it, man. They did the Jack Car, 300 or whatever.
I remember you did that, yeah.
Man, I bought one of them. I mean, and it's like, that's a special occasion because those shirts, I mean, it was a very expensive shirt, but those shirts are cool. Like, the buttons were like 9mm. They were supposed to look like 9mm.
Yeah.
But the shirt is like fancy enough. I mean, you could wear it. It's very nice. Like, you could wear it somewhere. And if this company would get American made, this would be
Retro Rifle.
Rifle, man. These are my favorite shirts.
Oh, they have the coolest designs. But you're right. Yeah, it's like, I just wish it was.
If it was American made, they would literally check all of the boxes. Like, they would have to sponsor this podcast if they were American made. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm just going to be honest with all of you. If Retro Rifle messaged us today and said they'd like to sponsor the podcast, we'd wear the shit out of Retro Rifle shirts on the show.
Yeah. I was actually, because I guess I'm kind of weird like this. Maybe I don't know. At the vet clinic every day, I dress like kind of business casual. I was like, I'm going to wear my Retro Rifle shirt on Friday. And then I realized tomorrow is my last day to work before the holiday. So I'm like, no, I got to rep red, white, and blue. And the only Retro Rifle shirt I have is not.
Which one do you have?
Patriotic. It is the Escobar.
What's that one look like? I'm trying to remember.
It's kind of yellowish. They've done the lately where they've kind of mimicked a lot of movie shirts.
Yeah.
And it's mimicking a shirt that from Narcos.
Okay, well that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. And it's a shirt, that of course it's the actor playing Pablo in the TV show, which is awesome. And I watched it.
I've never watched it. I need to watch it.
I got more into Narcos Mexico than the original Narcos, but it's pretty. It's not 100%.
Did they gay it up?
I'm trying to think. It's just so typical to see gay people, and it is on Netflix. So, but I'm trying to think. I don't know. No, it tries to be pretty accurate to historical, what actually happened.
So the drug lord's not gay?
No, Pablo's definitely not gay.
I figured they'd make him gay in the new one.
No, it's like, I mean, I'm sure a lot of it is dramatized and like some historians, which I've read a bunch about. Like that whole, the drug war and all kind of fascinated me. And I've read both some fiction that, again, was kind of loosely based on actual events, and then some actual nonfiction about Pablo and all that sort of stuff, and the cartels and how that works. So,
well, I never.
It's been so long since I watched it. I don't know. I'm not like a true historian on it. I couldn't tell you if it's how historically accurate it is.
I didn't get into the cartels really until I talked to Ed, and then I was like, man, he really kind of.
Yeah, Ed Calderon.
Yeah. That really let me. That kind of. I mean, because everybody, we all hear about it, but like I feel like, especially here, we're pretty removed from the cartels, like.
Oh yeah.
But then when you hear, like, Ed was talking about even the resorts, all the resorts are controlled by the cartels.
Well, everything there, like there's so much money.
What do you call it? The furry hand?
Yeah. They have their hand in everything.
Yeah.
Which Pablo, he was one of the richest people on the planet. Like, and it's just crazy. Like some of the things, were, they had so much money they couldn't physically handle all the cash like efficiently. Like,
it's bad. I have that problem all the time.
Right. I mean, literally, they had problems with it molding where they would store it and like rats eating it, and so they had to be careful about how they. Oh, it's just insane. And like, well, there was a documentary or a docuseries or whatever, and I need to watch it or see if I can find it again, called Cocaine Hippos.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
I mean, he was wealthy beyond like comprehension. And so what do wealthy people, they find stupid stuff to spend money on. He had like an exotic, like a zoo basically, and he like had hippos brought there to Colombia. Well, of course, he's been dead for a while now. And he had ostriches, zebras, all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Well, the hippos, because Colombia, as I'm sitting here looking at your globe, we're a very sophisticated podcast.
I know. Look at this.
I mean,
we've got an I bet there's not many podcasts that have an actual globe
sitting on
a cedar wood table.
That's right. This is handmade. Like,
handmade.
You made this. But yeah, keep spinning it around because Colombia's right there
There's
on the
equator.
Congo. And so the hippos actually thrived there. But of course, they're an invasive species. They shouldn't be there. And so I think what happened, long after Pablo's been gone, they're like, yeah, we got to get rid of these. Like, they're bad for our ecosystem here, whatever.
Yeah.
So we're going to take them out. And of course, a lot of the locals were like, it was an uproar, oh no, save Pablo's hippos, whatever. And so I need to watch it. It seems like I looked it up. I tried to watch it, and whatever channel or whatever had produced it didn't have it available on streaming.
Yeah. I
was like, this is crazy. They don't even, like, I want to watch this and I can't. Like,
I want to start selling cocaine.
Apparently the money's in growing it.
I was going, then, we got the farming down thing.
Well, I don't know. We may not have the environment for it because, again, obviously, apparently they grow really good cocaine down there on the equator.
I was going to say, it does seem like it's always in the, more tropical type.
We're probably more, acclimated to distributing.
Yeah. Well, Scarface made a shit ton of money just dealing.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that was they were Miami, South Florida. Yeah, that was a big way for them. And that's where, and again, I don't want to turn this into a total like the drug trade.
I know you got me intrigued already.
It's where like the Mexican cartels figured out the most valuable thing they own wasn't their ability to grow weed or heroin or some of the other stuff they produce. The most valuable thing the Mexican cartels owned was the border.
Yeah.
To the U.S.
Yeah.
They had access to the market.
Yeah.
They figured out that we'll take this Colombian product and we'll be the middleman to get it into the U.S.
Well, do you remember when I talked to Ed Calderon, one of the things he said was they actually the cartels liked it better when Trump was in office because they like a secure border. Because if the border is more secure, then you got to go to them to get the drugs across.
Yeah.
And that's what Ed was saying. And for reference, we've talked about him before, but Ed Calderon, he was basically counter cartel in Tijuana. And I talked to him on Living Fully Loaded. I don't remember what episode, but it was crazy.
Yeah, you can look it up and listen to it. But he
did say that. He said that
he was the equivalent of like Mexican DEA, basically. Yeah. But he was undercover, and pretty crazy stories he had.
But it was funny. He actually said they preferred it when Trump was in office, but it's because they're the mule.
The cartels were simply, they're just getting stuff across the border. They don't care if they're trafficking humans, cocaine.
Did you ever watch Sicario?
I don't think I have. No.
Man, that is like.
Is it just a movie?
Yeah. Well, there's two of them now. Sicario. There's a part 2, but man, and it's badass.
Okay.
And they're basically, it's kind of like some Black Ops going on in Mexico. They're kind of in this cartel, and Retro Rifle or one of them. It wasn't Retro. I can't remember, but it's one of those like kind of tactical clothing pages that I follow. Because there's this dude that's one of the guys, and he's one of the black ops. Josh Brolin is like the head of it. This woman basically finds herself with these black ops CIA guys, and she can't get over the shady shit they're doing. And the Sicario is Benicio del Toro. He was, I don't know, I think he was in Fear and Loathing of Las Vegas or whatever. But
which Retro Rifle just did a series of shirts based on that.
Yep. And but Benicio is a Sicario is a Mexican hitman.
Yeah,
and an assassin, and so that's what he is, and he's bad, and he hangs with these CIA ops. And there's this awesome scene, man, like they're going across this bridge, and it's a crowded bridge, and there's a couple of cars, and it's some shady looking dudes in these cars, and the black ops guys, they're all in there, and the Sicario's with them, and they kind of see them, and they get out of the car because somebody's like, all right, we got a gun here or something. And if I remember right, they shoot him, and then they all get out of the car. Well, one of the guys, he's got like some just framed glasses, a mustache, a button-down shirt, and tactical pants, and he's like toting the M4, and he's one of the dudes, and he's like a gangster. What?
Somebody liked one of our things that I was trying to open it up. Yeah.
Oh,
volume was turned on.
But the dude he's kind of got this nerdy gunfighter look to him, and like people, like a lot of the tactical guys, like emulate this guy from Sicario, because then he kills the shit out of them. Like they like shoot the shit out of these dudes in these cars, and the chick is like, what the hell? You know, she's like can't figure out what's going on. So it's a really badass movie. But
I'll have to watch it. Yes.
And actually Taylor Sheridan wrote it. I didn't know that until later.
Really? Well, yeah, I'll definitely watch it. But man, we never know where we're going to go in this podcast.
Well, today
you'd have talked zero about cartels or anything before.
And here we go.
My Retro Rifle Escobar shirt sent us down a rabbit hole.
Well, I was asking about it because I'm buying a new one tomorrow.
Oh,
the Ace Ventura.
Because they always have a drop on Friday. I didn't even realize they were. Now I'm going to open up Instagram again.
They got the Pet Detective dropping tomorrow.
I will have to. That is pretty awesome.
My
problem is, like, I have way more shit than I
You need to wear them in the YouTube videos. That's what I told Marcy. So I'll give a shout out to our listeners. Last episode, we were at 48 reviews. And we said we wanted to get to 50. You know, we're at 51 reviews today.
That is an awesome looking shirt.
Dude, is that not awesome? Like it's the Pet Detective shirt. So like, I mean, I showed Marcy, she's like, that shirt's awful. And
is that an Uzi?
I think it might be No, it's a revolver on there, ain't it?
Oh well, but they got
like a Uzi or a Mac 10 on there.
Oh, on the photo, but yeah, it's just a revolver in the actual. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely purchase that one. But I'll give a shout out here. We got several reviews. Man, I'll tell you, we got the best audience. We had multiple because we were at 48, so we got 3 reviews here. I'll give a shout out, Flounder59, and I'll give an extra shout out. They've all been 5-star reviews. We had that one. Turd.
I'm gonna be honest with you. If you give us less than 5 stars, that means you just hadn't listened.
I agree with that. I agree. I think the only acceptable star rating is either 5 or 1. And the 1 star is because they're just a pussy and they can't handle what we said.
Yeah.
Like they're just offended by what we say.
Yeah.
But Flounder59, Awesome Ag Podcast. Love being able to listen to another Awesome Ag show. Appreciate you, man. The next one. And this dude wrote us a great one. Colby Stammy. 5 stars. Love the podcast. Informative and hilarious. I appreciate what Logan and Bobby Lee stand for. Only complaint I have is the lack of videos coming from LH Farms. Hurricane Creek Farm is killing it on uploads, so Logan, you have to catch up. I appreciate 2 working men taking time weekly to sit down and record a podcast about ag so others who may not understand how farming and ranching work can realize what it's all about. My dad and I are bivocational farmers with a cow-calf operation in western North Carolina. Love the podcast. Also love the YouTube videos from both of y'all. Keep up the good work. Awesome review. And then the other one, again, I like giving these guys shout-outs. We got a fellow Tennessean here, Brandon from East Tennessee. Made in America. Talk Dirt to Me is a great ag podcast that covers popular and controversial topics in the ag community. This is my go-to podcast when I jump in the tractor. It's great to listen to some fellow Tennessee farmers and hear their opinions. I also love the fact they end each episode with a product that is made in America. Keep up the good work, fellas. I enjoy your podcast and YouTube channels. Man, I mean, that's what you like to read right there.
That is awesome. We appreciate everybody just listening. But yeah, if you take literally like 45 seconds to do that, it does mean a lot.
I think we need to set a goal. So 51, that's awesome. Yeah, we hit that. I mean, I think 100 is the next logical number to shoot for. I mean, we got to aim for the stars.
So what do you think we can get to 100 by when? Let's put a deadline on it.
I don't know how much time you want to give them.
So it took us
a while to get to 51.
We're closing in on 2 years. Yeah, we're closing in on 2 years. Yeah, because
I think we ought to say like December. I think we need to,
let's be ambitious.
All right, so you want to go even quicker?
Well,
then we need to increase there needs to be a winning here. We need to have some epic thing. Like I'm just going to throw this out there. I don't know that I can make this happen, but I'm just saying, if we could somehow do something where like they get, oh man, that'd be tough. I'm sitting here like thinking like a Volquartsen rifle.
Oh Lord. Yeah. That's a pretty damn yes. Yeah.
But I'm thinking of something. It's got to be an epic thing.
And then, like, when they leave a review, do we have a way of contacting them? Or like,
no, they have to. That's another thing. If y'all want some merch from us or something we've talked about, you have to message us and let us know you left the review.
Yeah. Because we can see the review. We can see whatever your like screen name or whatever your avatar for leaving the review is, but not. Like, we don't know who you are. Like, unless
I think if we can get to 100 reviews by September, we do a big ass, badass giveaway, and that'll unlock the giveaway.
We'll try to, we'll put.
You'll win Bobby Lee's Jeep.
Man, I can't get rid of that thing. We'll put together a swag pack of some kind.
But it's gonna be super badass. Like
we're gonna have some. Just Talk Dirt to Me hats here for long, and of course I got some Hurricane Creek Farm hats. I'm wearing one right now. You got LH Farms gear.
Yeah, I got one hat left right there.
Oh wow, you don't have any in stock.
No,
I have to watch my kids keep coming to my office and like just getting a new hat out of the box. I'm like, there's like 14 of these hats laying around the house. Like, quit coming in here and grabbing a new one.
But no, we'll do some swag, but there's going to be some really epic thing in there.
Okay. We can do that. So
100 by September 30th.
There we go. Need 49 more, y'all.
If we don't get there, then we're taking the show off the air.
And we'll somehow draw somebody that has left a review.
Yeah, you'll have to have left a review. And we'll enter it in. You know, they got the little programs online, and you can make sure we don't do any funny business, pull any Clinton election rigging or nothing like that.
They wouldn't do that sort of thing.
Yeah, of course. What were you when we got in here? Well, first, all right, well, go ahead. Yeah, because you got a funny thing to tell me.
Well, I was going to tell you something off the air, and you're like, no, just hold it. So, this past weekend, my daughter, my whole family went.
Hold on, did you write that down? The giveaway, September 30th?
I didn't.
All right, I'll make a note right here.
Okay.
Because I'll forget.
So we left Friday morning, went to Lexington, Kentucky. About a 6-hour drive for us. I've been in Kentucky several times, but never been to Lexington. But the Kentucky Horse Park, it's kind of like a mecca for like equine sports and whatnot. You got the racetrack, Keeneland there in Lexington, and there's horse farms everywhere. But anyway, we're up there showing horses. Her first ever just true eventing show. Went pretty well, you know, all things considered. But we're on our way back. This is Sunday afternoon.
And you passed a micro penis horse farm.
Man, we might have, but I didn't see the sign if we did. Passed a lot of distilleries and whatnot. That's pretty cool. We didn't have time to stop, unfortunately. But we're getting back close. We're nearly back to God's country, back to Tennessee.
Yeah.
And thank God we saw this before we got to Tennessee. So we're coming up, and there's like a Tahoe, and it's kind of probably an older model Tahoe, like early 2000s. It's pulled over on the side of the road, and it's right under an overpass.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, whatever. But as I'm, approaching them, and of course my wife's not paying any attention. My kids are like watching their iPads. So I'm the only one noticing anything.
I got an idea where this is going.
I'm thinking, all right, there's something wrong. But I mean, we're pulling a horse trailer there's lots of traffic. Like, they're not in distress.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I wonder what's wrong. And so as I'm getting closer, like, there's clearly like a little person, like a child, and then there's an adult.
All right, this took a turn I wasn't expecting.
No, like, Biden level pedophilia, anything like that. Yeah. So as we get up there closer, it's clearly a woman and this child, and the woman's squatting down, and just as we're going by, she's standing up and pulling her pants up.
Man.
Man, when you gotta go, you gotta go.
Yep.
Like, I was just like, and it was too late for me to even say anything to my wife, because I mean, we're doing 80 on the interstate. I was just like, it took me like a couple of minutes to even mention it to her. I was like,
was there not a better spot they could have pulled off?
Man, I don't know. I guess, man, when you gotta go, you gotta go.
I wonder was she? Well, surely she was just peeing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's
right
all.
there.
That's my total assumption, is that she was taking a leak. But I was like, damn, like, I can't even, because it was over with so fast.
You couldn't even tell your wife and them to.
It wasn't like we could see it coming from a mile away. It's just like, by the time I realized what was happening, we were past, but I was like, that woman was just taking a leak beside her car on the side of the interstate. Like, I will be damned. Like, and all I could think was, I was like, woo, we were like 30 minutes from the Tennessee state line. I was like, that's not near as good of a story if I actually see that in Tennessee.
In Tennessee, yeah. Yeah.
Shit you see in Kentucky.
Well, I'll tell you, that is something. Farming has, to an extent, ruined me a little bit, because I think my body has gotten used to the fact that when I got to go, I just go. Because
I guess I'm a bit of a hypocrite here, because, I guarantee you, I would bet a large amount of money, I pee off actually my front porch. I would say this, I pee outside in the close proximity around my house more often than I pee in my house.
I pee outside more than I pee inside.
Because of course we have dogs inside, and so, like, every night right before I go to bed, I take the dogs out. That's where I take my last leak before I go to bed.
You'll all gather around and pee there.
That's where I take my first leak when I get up in the morning. And really, like, most of the time during the day, like, if I wake up during the middle of the night and have to go
walk outside.
No, I do go to the bath. Like, but that's the one time where it's guaranteed that I'm not going to go outside. And that's but sometimes I get up to go to the bathroom. One of the dogs gets up and needs to go out. So, but I often think about that, because now we're like most people. We've got the security cameras.
Yeah.
And I'm always cognizant of that, because we got one on our front porch. I'm like, I'm going to stand over here in case somebody's like hacking into my computer system. Like, they don't see me standing here taking a leak.
Well, when Marcy and I, we went, like, it's funny, man. I remember growing up, I don't remember using the bathroom as a kid on the side of the road a lot when we would travel. Like, I remember having to find a rest stop.
I've done that with my son multiple times.
That's all I do. We don't find a rest stop. When we were coming back.
Well, we will if we can, but it's often, because you're twins are the same age as my son.
Yeah.
He goes from, I don't have to pee, to, oh my God, I'm having to hold it. I'm about to pee in my pants in like a span of about 45 seconds.
Yeah.
And so, there's plenty of times where there's like an exit, but there's nothing there. And so I'll just pull off on the exit ramp. Like, all right, son, get out, whip it out.
Dude, when we went to Gatlinburg, that wasn't this year. That was this year. Or maybe. I can't remember. Hell, I can't keep up with the dates. It was either last year or this year. All the days are the same. But we ate made a fatal error. The night before we left, they ordered pizza and hot wings. And I was like, at pizza, if I don't take a little acid pill, I get the most god-awful indigestion. So for some reason, I thought the safe bet was to eat hot wings. And so I ate hot wings the night before I'm driving, 7.5 hours home. And didn't sleep. I didn't sleep. My stomach was trashed. And like, man, I could have shit through a screen door. And man, I was thinking the whole night, like as I'm shitting and feeling like crap, I'm like, I got to drive home tomorrow. And I mean, Marcy could have done it, but I'm still like, the thought of the fact that I'm not going to be near a toilet, like I'm going to be stuck in a car.
That's when you pop a couple of Imodium.
That is when
they just shut you down.
Yes, that is when those would be worth their weight in gold. But I remember on the way home, like I felt a lot better in the morning. I finally did go to sleep, and we were coming home, and we were probably halfway home. And good thing about traveling through Tennessee, the interstate stuff, there's a lot of woods and stuff on the side, and man, the shit pain did hit me, and I drove enough to find like kind of a few bushes together. I just pulled off and ran off in the bushes and took a shit. Well, and I was in my natural habitat. Like, I'm like, why would I ever stop at a rest stop? Like, I shit like this during harvest time. I've told people before, I bet I shit outside more than I shit inside.
I don't ever get in that situation that often just because, obviously peeing outside's nothing. But
your workplace is inside. I feel like if you were working out
Monday, at least 4 days a week. I'm working within a few steps of a toilet.
If you went out in the back to shit outside, in that case, it'd be kind of odd. Like if you were working in there with a client, and you're like, all right, you finish up and you go, I gotta go to the bathroom, and you just walk out the back door, and you'd have to climb up the concrete wall.
Yeah, there's not much privacy there where we are, but back in the old days before we had done our last expansion, there was easy access to the woods. But
was that where you'd go shit?
I don't think I ever did, man.
Oh man, that's sad.
But and as I think about it, I guess I'm kind of a sexist because I can think of multiple times where I've been driving down the road and like seen a dude taking a leak, and like you don't even think twice about that.
Yeah,
but the thing is, like literally, she was just pulled over in the emergency lane, like the car was just right there on the side on the shoulder, and she's just right there like in the gravel, like
she had to have been taking a dump. That was too.
I don't think she.
I feel like that's too emergency.
She could have been. She could have already, like I say, we're doing.
She might have eaten hot wings the night before.
I did not see any wiping going on, which hey, it was Kentucky, but I would assume that I don't know. We were going so fast. Maybe she could have wiped before we got within easy eyesight.
Yeah, and she was the driver, so it wasn't like she could hang it out.
I don't know. Yeah, I really don't know. Like that's all I can tell you is that it was a dark colored, like early 2000s model.
What was her? Do you remember the license plate number?
No, I don't even remember what state they were from, but I'm sure it had to have been
Florida.
They had to have been Kentucky natives.
Yeah,
it could have been Florida. But she wasn't like just morbidly obese, but she had a rather large rear end.
Well, speaking of,
I was just like, I hated that my wife. Of course, she's like a typical wife, like she's
in her phone over there.
Yeah. And then she's doing the typical wife stuff. Like I had to have a talk with her. Like on our way up there, she did this thing where she looks up, she's like, oh, stop. And I literally, like, I nearly made us, like, what? It's like a car 3/4 of a mile in front of us had tapped their brakes. But she's in her phone and she glances up, and at the moment she does, a car in front of us has its brake lights. She's like, when a car in front of you hits their brakes, you have to hit your brakes. I'm like, babe, that car was so far ahead of us, like I could barely see it. But like she does that crap.
So I'll tell you what my wife's bad about doing. She hugs the white line. Does your wife ride really far on the white line?
No, my wife tailgates people.
See, Marcy don't tailgate.
Not so much on the interstate.
So how's she gonna be freaking out about you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, damn good point.
Well,
and her thing is she won't tailgate on the interstate so much as she will like on back roads. And I'm like, that's
even worse.
Yes, because on the interstate, people don't make sudden stops or turns typically. Like, I have to get on there. I'm like,
Marcy,
get off their rear end.
She hugs the white line. And see, I hug, again, farming's ruined me. I'll just take over the whole road when I'm driving.
Oh, if I'm not meeting a car, and my wife gets on to me about that, she's like, you're driving in the middle of the road. I'm like, there's nobody coming.
Yeah,
like,
that's how I am. I'm like,
and I'm not in the middle of the road, but I'm like over the yellow line.
I hug the yellow line.
Yeah.
But now when I meet a car, I get over. But,
exactly.
But again, I think
if I'm taking a curve, and it's like a curve where I can see well ahead of me, like, yeah.
I might take the whole damn lane on the other side.
Oh, yeah, I straighten the curve.
Sometimes I'll put the pedal down. I'm like, let's see what this thing will do in this curve. This truck and be skirting tires. But, she hugs the white line, and it scares the hell out of me. Like, and
if there's nobody coming, that's...
And it'll be a lip drop
off the shoulder,
and so yesterday we did this. I needed a ride. My helper has been AWOL, so I've been by myself. So I needed
totally AWOL, or
he said he had an ingrown toenail, couldn't work all week. So I have.
So you at least I didn't know if he fell off the face.
He might as well have. And so I've been killing myself because I haven't had any help, but. So yesterday, she had to give me a ride, and she'd be mad at me for sharing this, but we're going in Bolton because I'm out in that area. Well, it just got ravaged by these straight line winds, so there's a bunch of shit on the side of the road, and man, she's hugging the white line, and I'm like I do find myself occasionally being like, I'm like wincing because I'm thinking she's about to
slapping limbs and stuff on the side of the road.
It'll be like a brick mailbox. I'm like, I'm like waiting for it to hit the car, and but I don't say anything because I've said stuff before.
You know better than
I've been married long enough to know. So I see there's limbs on the side, and there's one time there is a limb hanging down. And I said there's a limb hanging down, and it's like. I know it because I've drove the sprayer through there, and I have to slow down with the sprayer, but it will hit the windshield of a vehicle. And I said, there's a limb right there. And she just doesn't do anything. And I said, there's a limb right there. I did finally. And she was like, yeah, she swerved. She's like, I hate driving with you. And I'm like, fine, just blow the windshield out the next time. But she's hugging this white line, and she just clobbers this freaking limb that is sticking out. And her black car, it was a line on the side of her car. I bet it's 5 foot long. And I said, that is a terrible scratch. Because I'm looking in the mirror, and I said, good Lord. And I made a remark. I was like, you got to get away from the white line. I did finally. And she's like, you're going to have to find somebody else to drive for you. And I'm like, I'm trying to keep you from barrel rolling this car 12 times in the ditch whenever you run off the road or clobber a mailbox. But I mean, again, two married men, we know how it is.
Oh yeah. Well, and my wife will point out that I've had more wrecks than her.
Marcy says that to me too.
And my wife's factually, that is correct.
Yes. And that's why I'm like, well, and I know more, I have more experience in that field, so I can tell you.
Well, my wife's thing with tailgating people, I'm like, well, I've never rear-ended anybody, knock on wood.
Yeah.
Which I drive like a pawpaw. When I was driving here just, 30 minutes ago, there was a car riding my bumper.
Oh, that makes me go slower.
And I was just like, and I looked down, and I'm like, okay, I'm doing 50.
Yeah.
And the speed limit is 55, but it's a 2-lane state highway that is windy and hilly as hell, and I'm driving a 20-plus-year-old Jeep. Get off my bumper.
If somebody's riding my bumper, you can bet I'm doing 5 under the speed limit.
Yeah.
And I might start.
Like I say, I'm like a pawpaw because I was doing that anyway.
I go through phases, man. Sometimes I'm burning rubber, and the next time I'm going slow. But I'm typically a 5 over everywhere.
Well, if I get out on a big highway, yeah. But this road out here, when I'm driving at just what I feel like is good cruising speed, it's usually not even the speed limit.
Yeah.
That's one of the few instances where I'll say, man, the speed limit might be actually too much.
It wouldn't hurt my feelings if they'd slow this down.
Yeah.
But man, we truly don't know where this show is going to go. Again, we've gone from retro rifle shitting on the side of the street to our wives scaring us on the road, which I think that's probably common. But I wanted to give a shout out to our buddy Philip. You know, Philip Law.
Yeah.
So, Philip, I'm calling you out here on the podcast, but he messaged me a while back and he said, how would you like to have a captain with Florida's Office of Agriculture Law Enforcement on the podcast? And I said, man, that'd be pretty awesome. I said, yeah, connect us. And he said, good to hear, because it's me. So
I was about to say, I felt like that was going that direction. Yeah.
Yep. He is actually, he said he actually starts July 1st. So congrats to Philip on that. I asked him if it was like Yellowstone where they get to like shoot people and stuff. And he said he didn't think it was quite like that.
Well, I'll be down there next week.
Oh, in Florida?
Well, technically I'll be in Alabama, but we're staying right there. My wife has planned this whole trip.
Orange Beach?
Apparently we're staying right. People that have gone to that area, you know, there's the famous Floribama bar.
Yeah, we go there. That's where we go all the time.
They have the famous mullet toss there every spring.
You
never heard of the mullet toss?
I haven't.
Oh, the Floribama. It's a bar right
I've
there.
been to that bar a bunch.
Oh, I've been to it several times. It can be a little bit of a wild place.
Did she put her bra up there?
My wife,
Yeah.
I don't know that she did. Last time I was there, the memory gets a little fuzzy towards the end. It was the night before my brother-in-law got married, and oh man, yeah,
Had a few alcoholic
that place is
beverages.
huge.
It is big, yeah.
There were multiple bands playing there that night. Yeah.
I love that area.
But we're staying. Apparently, we're staying in one of the high-rise condos, which I'm not crazy about that. But anyway, down there for a softball tournament, we're staying at one. Apparently, it's like walking distance, so we're right on the state line. So
Probably one of the Phoenixes.
oh yeah, they're all the Phoenix. Down
Yeah.
there. Yep.
Nice. Well, that'll be awesome.
Pahonix.
Pahonix.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the beach, I guess I'll go a little ag here on us, dude. Today, so I am spraying. I finished planting, so I'm all on the spraying. And dude, I'm gonna tell you what. It was hot as shit today.
We're getting a little dry, aren't we?
It's pretty dry. We need a rain. But last I had looked, there was some days coming up of forecasted rain.
We're gonna be out of town next week, but I was looking ahead. It's like every day is a 50% chance.
Yeah,
Which
scares me.
I on my YouTube video that's gonna drop probably tomorrow, I said the exact thing. I was like, that a 50% chance of rain every day for like 7 days scares me.
Yeah.
I'm scared to cut hay because it might rain, but I'm also like, these assholes have no
clue. Yeah,
this is what this means, and it almost guaranteed means if the first couple of days go by and it doesn't rain,
then the rest won't get any rain.
It will not rain.
Yeah,
it'll every single day. It will not rain. And, and then all of a sudden you look up and it's been 3 weeks since you had any significant rain. But well, you referenced those storms that went through Sunday night, which we were not back in town yet. Nasty storms. I didn't have power till like noon on Monday.
Really?
My brother still does not have power.
Dang, he ain't got it back today?
No.
Wow.
It was 100 degrees here today. They, I think they've been staying at home. And tonight, which I told him, I was like, come to my house, but he went to my parents' house.
Yeah.
They were finally like, yep, we're done.
Dang. Yeah.
He's been running a generator just to keep his freezers going.
What have they been doing for air? Shit, I'd have gone the first night. I can't sleep.
He had been running like box fans off the generator, but yeah.
Yeah, man. Hell, I'd go book a hotel before I could do that.
You know, I've talked to some other people that didn't have power. They had to go like, and just for reference, people outside of our area had to go all the way like into Memphis to get a hotel, which I'm surprised even there, because south of us into Memphis is where it really got hit the hardest.
Every field that I work in Shelby County has shit in it.
Well, hell, in my house, I've got multiple trees down out in the pasture. Thankfully, I didn't have damage like right up around the house like I did when the tornadoes went through. But
they said it was 85 mile an hour winds.
Yeah. The more I look, which stands to reason, the more trees I find. Like yeah. Because I keep kind of telling myself, it's probably not bad. Yeah. Like, oh no. Well, when I check this field, yep, there's trees down here too.
Oh yeah. Every field I've been to out there has been bad, and we were at home.
But that was my other point. We didn't get a drop of rain.
No, yeah, no, it did not.
Did you get any on your farms in Shelby County?
Yeah, some of those got a little bit, but not a lot.
Yeah, it blew through in a hurry apparently.
Yes,
but I got zero here. Like
chickens.
Zero.
Tell you, chickens are dumb because I got these chickens out here. I was home when the winds were going crazy here, and I was looking outside. The wind is blowing like crazy. They all get out of the coop and run out in the open area, and they're like, it's like feathers blowing around. They're like, I'm like, I told Marcy, I said, I'm waiting to see a chicken like take off into the wind. I said, these idiots, they literally got out of the coop and ran out into the open. I'm like, you morons. But yeah, it's very dry, or it's getting very dry, but it is hot as shit today. The stuff I'm spraying, I have 6 different chemicals I'm having to mix in the tank right now. And again, my
spraying beans.
Yeah, spraying over the top. This is the dicamba. I'm doing that. But I'm doing some dicamba. I got a variety of things, and I'm even putting a little fertilizer down with it. But dude, especially by myself, today, like I was out there, like my heart rate was like skyjacking because it takes 22 gallons of this dicamba. So I have to get, and they're in 2.5 gallon jugs.
And in what volume of water?
It's in 750 gallons.
Oh damn, that's a big ass tank.
Yeah, I gotta,
I'm used to mixing up like 200 to 300 gallons at a time.
No, yeah, my sprayer's got a 800 gallon tank on it.
Okay.
But I do 750 because it makes stuff come out. It gives you an even 50 acres.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff, like the Roundup is 12.5 gallons, fertilizer's 12.5. I figured up, I'm putting 55 gallons of chemical in the tank.
Well, yeah, so you can't.
And I'm having to do it by myself, and they're in 2.5 gallon jugs. So I'm having to handle all those.
Yeah.
And it's hot as crap, and the sprayer air, even the sprayer air is struggling. And like, that's what today, I was cussing the fact that I didn't have any help today. Yeah. But that heat, man, it's brutal. And that's what, we always have this spell around here where it does that, and it seems like it's always dry. It gets dry and really hot.
So I noticed some of the cornfields.
They start looking bad.
There's some of our dad's work just up the road here. When I was going home at lunch, and it was rolled up.
Yeah,
pretty tight there about noon.
It does not take long for that dry heat to really hit them, but it's wild how volatile the markets are. So, I guess a week ago or 2 weeks ago, they were super dry in the Midwest. They were in a drought. I don't know if they must not be now.
Well, they still are technically, because there was another article on that.
Well, they must have got some rain because the markets jumped in like a couple of days. The markets went up $1, and then in 2 days the markets went down $1.
Yeah,
and it's crazy. Like,
well, and it's one of the market reports I listen to every day, the Feeder Flash. That's what they were kind of like. It's just a weather market every day. Like it doesn't even have to rain through the Corn Belt, but just forecasted rain will make the corn price drop, which is good for cattle. Those are generally, you could say they're inverse. Corn price goes way up, that'll negatively affect cattle markets. It's like it hasn't even rained there yet, but they've got rain in the forecast, so it price of corn drops. Like the markets don't even wait to see if it actually rains.
Well, that's what's frustrating to me. The markets have gotten so freaking volatile, man. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy.
Well, that's another point he talks about. It's like, and a lot of it, it's not traders that really are in the market, farmers or anybody that even handles grain.
Yeah, they never see
it's just spec traders. Yeah. They're just looking at charts and graphs and trying to figure out, do I need to go short, go long, and just playing numbers.
Just in the grand scheme of how long I've been running my farming operation, it'd be short, I guess 9 or 10 years. I can remember when I started, man, you'd see you might see a 20-cent swing over a few days. Like, you would have time to make some moves. Like, if you wanted to do some booking, like, the market wouldn't swing that wildly. And today, it's not wild to see $1 change in, like, literally 2 days. Like, you could be looking at the prices today, be like, okay, $13.50. Yeah, I could book some beans at that. But I'm going to kind of see... I may book them in the morning, and then you might wake up in the morning and it'll be like $12.88. You're like, what the hell? Like, it'll be like a huge drop overnight. Yeah. So yeah, it's
which they got daily limits, but the limits are pretty high these days, aren't they?
Oh, like you talking about like if you did a ceiling or a put or something?
Well, I think there's a limit what the market can do one way or the other. Like.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I think they have like a daily, because they'll say like corn was limit down today.
Yeah.
Like something just totally crashed the market, and it was whatever it's allowed to drop. That's all they would let it drop.
Okay. I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
You probably wake up, the next day it's going to drop,
yeah,
some more. It might not be another limit down, but
it's crazy.
And you don't need to listen to me for marketing advice, because I know very little. So
all I know, I'll tell you, whenever we had a great marketer years ago with ADM. Her name was Lauren. I'm friends with her. I'm still friends with her. She was awesome because she would come out and she would explain stuff to us. Because, dude, marketing can go over all the farmers, like not all of us, but you can go over a farmer's head pretty quick when you start getting into put ceilings, hedge to arrive, and like all this stuff. Like there's so many variables. It's easy to like get overwhelmed.
Right.
So Lauren was really good about, she would actually come out and explain to us, this is what's going on, this is what, and so she told me one time the best marketer she ever saw he was a local farmer around here, and it's because he was disciplined marketer. Like, he knew going into the year what he needed to make, what he had to make, all this, and he would just, when the prices got to where he needed them, he would start booking. And like in a 7-year span, if you had that weird outlier year where prices all of a sudden spiked like crazy at harvest time, that's when your terrible marketers make all their money. The 1 year out of 7 where the prices go high, we've talked about it, where they're like, well, yeah, back in so-and-so year, I made so much money. I sold beans for $20 a bushel. And the disciplined marketer will not hit that, because he'll have booked.
And he'll still make money that year,
yes,
but he won't hit the home run like those guys hit.
Yeah, but
every year
he's making money.
Yeah, he's going to hit a single, a double every year. Like, he's making money every year. Where you got the other guy who he's barely scraping by a bunch of years, but then all of a sudden he has that 1 year where he doesn't get anything booked ahead of time, but yeah, it pays off for him.
It does, and then...
Well, it's the worst thing that could ever happen to him.
Yeah, because then they'll never book. They're not disciplined.
And see, I always use that philosophy when I go either to Tunica or to Vegas to gamble, which I'm not a very good gambler, and I'll lose money. I'm like, see, this is good. Like, this way I don't ever get addicted to it and sucked in.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be that guy who hits it big one time.
And you got to get that again.
And it's like, then for my next 10 trips to the casinos, I lose my ass, and I'm like just chasing that one high.
Yeah.
Like, nope, I just never win. So I never want to go, and I never want to spend any money when I do go.
Well, that is how those guys, because you hear it all the time, the guys that hit it that 1 year, they will like mock.
Yeah, they're gonna cling to that.
They will cling to that, and they basically, if you try to tell them like, well, so and so's a disciplined marketer here, it's like, well, they didn't get them big money that year.
Back in 07.
Yep.
Ask them how it went.
Yeah.
I bought me a new truck at the end of that year.
Yeah. It's like, well, yeah, again, like you said, every year
they're making money every single year.
Every year.
Making decent profit every year. Yeah, you hit a home run 1 out of 7 years.
Yeah. You might actually lose some money every couple years, break even one, and then 1 year you really boom. And
they're all about that adrenaline.
Yes.
They need that adrenaline rush to
And I tell you, the volatility of the market makes it harder to be disciplined, because you are kind of, because that's kind of been where I've tried to fall, is just a very disciplined marketer. And last year was actually a saving grace for me. I watched the market religiously. Man, corn, I took a pretty good compliment from them at, I think it was at CGB. They said I had almost the highest contract corn. Now, a bad thing is I didn't have enough of it, but I'm glad in the long scheme because corn was terrible last year. But I actually booked some corn at $7.77 last year. And so I was like, man, like when I called and booked it, and I remember whenever I filled that contract, the person I was talking to there was like, man, I got to tell you, that might have been the highest contract on corn we had last year.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I watch it, and because everybody's notorious. If farmers are terrible, even at something crazy like $7.70 for corn that's big money. But like farmers are the world's worst. If they see $7.70, they'll be like, it's gonna go to $8. I'm gonna get that $8.
Well, and like our buddy Lee, who he's been in several roles in the grain industry, but so you booked that corn at $7.77 today. Tomorrow, when you wake up, what do you want to see the market doing?
You want it to go up instead of everybody else that wants it to crash.
But 99% of farmers want to see it come down.
They do, so they'd be like, I did right, pat themselves.
Yep. Looky there, I nailed it.
Yeah.
And to an extent, I see their point. Like, I made a good decision. But the reality is, you don't book your full crop.
No. Yeah,
So that extra, that you have left over that you didn't book, you want to sell it at $7.90, $8,
You want to book on a rise, and everybody books on a fall.
Yeah.
Because everybody sees the rise.
It's going up. They're like, oh shit, it's coming down. Let's book some real quick.
Yeah. They see the rise, and instead of chipping away, like that's what I like. Man, I'll call and I'll book 2,000 bushels, 2,000 bushel, and just because, man, it's book.
Well, Leah always say is like, you feel better about yourself, like you're smarter.
Yeah.
When you book it and then it comes down. But your bank account looks a whole lot better when it keeps going.
It keeps going, yeah. And I mean, again, dude, that's good because it's like.
So do you want to feel smarter or do you want to make more money? Which one is it?
I don't know. I think there's some guys that would almost rather feel smarter.
Oh, I think their ego.
Their ego and their pride.
They want to go to the coffee shop in the morning and be like, "Yeah, boys, I booked a bunch yesterday, and y'all saw we woke up."
Dropped $1 overnight.
Markets are down this morning.
Yeah.
Y'all should have listened to me yesterday when I told y'all I was going to book some.
Yeah.
Bragging rights.
It is bragging rights. Well, before we close, we got to talk about this one wild story.
Yeah.
It's funny. We were on the same page. We both walked in here, and usually before we start recording, we'll be like, you got any good stories? And we'll kind of gear up. We both had the same story in mind.
We hadn't talked. Really, we hadn't talked since last week, I guess. Text message here, there. Didn't know what we were going to talk about
memes.
Tonight.
Lots of memes.
Yeah, we share the memes. Usually nothing to do with ag, but most of them inappropriate. But anyway,
99% of them.
Kind of similar to the story we talked about last week. Like we might become known as like the anarchist libertarians rather than the farming podcast.
I know.
Which I'm fine with that.
Yeah, well, they said one of our reviews said we are the most patriotic podcast.
Which last week's was the story of the DeVilliers family there in Texas that are fighting against, really, I guess, the Texas Department of Transportation, whatever, that flooded their land. This week, we go to Nebraska. Same author, Chris Bennett. You really need to look him up. You need to be following him. Like I say, I could read his stuff. It wouldn't matter what he was writing about. He's very talented. But this is one that kind of fires me up even more because it's the feds.
Oh, yeah. I want him to take down the damned EPA.
One of the alphabet agencies. Basically, any federal agency that's any of the alphabet agency. I don't care. FBI, DEA.
Hey, did you see Idaho?
ATF.
Did you see what Idaho did with the FBI? They're like banning the FBI from their state. There's some sort of thing they're trying to push, and their government is for it. But basically, the FBI, if they can't be like it's some basically like if they can't be monitored by the Idaho government, some sort of deal there, then they're banned. Like they're legitimately looks like they're gaining some steam to ban the FBI.
Ruby Ridge might have ended a whole lot differently if they had done that 30
That's
years
true.
ago.
Probably be some guy and his family peacefully living on the mountains.
Yeah, Randy Weaver and
I would buy a sawed-off shotgun from him.
Vicky Weaver might still be alive.
Yeah, not dead with her baby in her hands.
But so basically this guy, and I'm not even looking at the article, but just the synopsis. Nebraska, I think it said Southwest Nebraska, which I just drove through that part of the country. I mean, like 11 months ago.
Yeah.
Bought, I believe it was 80 acres, relatively small block of
80
ground.
acres, yeah.
And again, it's all his side of the story. You know, we'll give that caveat. Of course, Chris reached out to the EPA. They wouldn't talk. Shocker.
Yeah. They're probably busy at a pride parade, really.
Yeah, pride parade, or just violating somebody's constitutional rights somewhere. I mean, what else are they gonna do? You know? But basically, his story had a lot of dead trees, and it had an invasive plant species. It's just well documented. It's bad for wildlife and the other flora and whatnot. So he was cleaning it up. Making improvements, certainly in his opinion, because like I said, he brought it basically for recreational purposes.
Recreation and hunting.
Yeah. EPA comes in and slaps him.
Well, I did like where his gay little neighbor ratted him out.
His neighbor turned him in, which I was, immediately as I read that, I was like, ooh, like I bet that made for some.
I'd go shit on his doorstep after some stuff like that. Man, I'd slash his tires. He'd have never.
What in the actual? Like, there's got to be more to that story.
They got to be like, they had to have been hunting that land, and they were mad.
Like that
they bought it. Maybe they were like, man, you can't hunt this anymore. We're gonna hunt. Like, I could almost see it being something like that.
Or like they tried to buy it, and he outbid them or something. Like, there's got to be some more bad blood there.
Because the neighbor ratted them out to the EPA.
Because I don't care what my neighbor's doing. For me to rat them out to the feds, I don't know that there's a worse thing you could do to a neighbor.
I know, yeah.
If there's something kind of ridiculous going on, I can maybe see a situation
like
where
if you saw them killing kids or something.
Okay. Like, I call local law enforcement. Yeah, like if they're just doing something ridiculous that I don't think is safe or whatever, but
if they were building bombs with ammonia nitrate or whatever, you wouldn't call the feds on them. I
mean, if they were doing it where it wasn't going to potentially harm my family, like, I'd probably watch from a distance.
Yeah, if you saw them out there, it'd be like me if I saw my neighbors shooting some machine guns. Like, if they had a belt-fed machine gun, I'd be like, dude, let me come shoot that thing.
You come walking up. Like,
I'd be like, dude, hey.
I'm not a fed, which is the first thing a fed would say.
Yeah.
But so his neighbor turned him in, which, that's got to make for some awkward interactions there in town.
Yeah.
But slapped a $300,000 fine on him. And the whole premise, of course, that Chris goes into is the EPA is guaranteed to win that case because the EPA
100% success.
They're the judge, the jury, and the executioner. Like they like if you appeal it, you're appealing the EPA's ruling to the EPA.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, let's look at what we agree with ourselves here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and that's
what low us the fine.
That's what the guy, this Villegas is his name. That's his biggest thing he's fighting for. He wants to get a jury.
Yeah, a jury of his peers. Which that's where this could be a monumental case, because this would and the EPA is not the only government agency that does this. There are plenty of others that
well, reading this to me, you know what it made me think of? I mean, it's obviously on a lesser scale, but it makes me think of the fine we got.
Yeah.
$10,000 fine for tilling that ground.
Yeah, our dad's got a fine.
It was a farm that I picked up in Covington.
Were you working or were they working?
I was working it, but we just kind of, I bought the one part of it, and the other part was being rented, but it was under Circle H Farms, so they sent the fine to Circle H Farms.
And basically, what it was that the previous farmer had just raped that ground.
Well, the ground is classified, so your soil around here, there is HEL and NHEL, which is highly erodible and non-highly erodible. Non-highly erodible, you could basically do anything to that ground you want to. Like you could disc it every day of the year if you wanted to, and it wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
Non-highly erodible, it gets like to that level, you can't do any tillage. And
or the highly erodible.
I had it backwards. Yeah, the HEL on the highly erodible land, you cannot do any tillage on it. And so,
which is crazy that you can own property and they can tell you, which is exactly what happened to this guy.
Exactly. I mean, that's exactly what I was saying. But I remember we were like, we don't want to, this is bull crap. Because for one, in our case, they're supposed to send you a letter and tell you you're going to be checked, like to see if you're adhering. And I mean, look, you can argue like, technically, when you get a new farm, you're supposed to go to NRCS or FSA, and you have to talk to them and see if there's a plan. They'll have a soil plan on the farm.
Which is crazy that you can't make decisions for your own property.
Yes.
Which I understand there's some bad farmers out there that do stuff that's detrimental to the land.
But honestly, if you own it, then I'm kind of like, you own it.
I think there is that argument. And then I think the counter argument to that as well, you're only going to own it. That land's going to exist for eternity.
Yeah.
You shouldn't ruin it for future generations that, I mean, you're not going to be here to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see your side as well. Like there's just playing devil's advocate there. But yeah,
that's where
they tell you what you're allowed to do with your property.
Yes.
Which is a little bit crazy.
And when we told them we wanted to fight it because one, we did not receive the letter telling us that we were going to be checked. The previous farmer got it, and he was mad because I had bought that farm. It was listed for sale for 2 years online, and I just made an offer, and they took it. So that's his problem. And because he had called somebody thinking it was me, telling him he was going to kick their ass, and he never called me. But so he was mad. So I'm going to say when he got the letter, he probably enjoyed the fact that he got that letter because he threw it away. Never told us.
So those sons of bitches are going to get checked.
Yeah, they're going to get that. And so we did. We got fined $10,000. And Dad was like, he talked to him up there at the office, and he said, "We're not paying that. That's bull crap." And they were like, "Man, you can fight it, but they're going to just call your loans on everything." And like they were like,
"You will not beat them.
Yeah, like you're not going to beat them.
Even when you win, you don't win."
Yeah,
and that's what this guy and what's kind of, I guess, caught the attention of Chris to write this article is he's demanding a jury trial.
Yeah,
in which I mean, I don't know. There's some idiots out there. I mean, apparently 81 million of them voted for our president, if you believe that. But but it's hard to imagine anyone siding with the government in this situation. And again, if these facts as they have laid them out are true, which I would, following Chris's work, I doubt he would have picked up this story if this guy was actually like totally doing some nefarious shit and and he's just claiming to be a victim here. But it says one of the things they nailed him on was the EPA claims that he had 5.7 acres of wetlands and 210 feet of Platte River tributaries.
Yeah.
Which I'm thinking, like, that's worth a $300,000. Like, even if he was being totally like a jerk, like ruining the ground, like okay, so 5 acres out of
80 acres.
And then, 200 feet basically of tributary, and that's worth $300,000. I mean, that is, but yeah, and the whole thing is, the EPA, like, you can't fight it. Like, they are going, like, you're fighting them with them getting to be the judge in the whole case. Like, it doesn't pay any attention, but or make any sense. I liked, his line they mentioned a couple of times. He said, "Real Americans do not live scared, not even from their own government."
I had that pulled up because I was like, that is the best quote.
it's preposterous that you even have to say that.
Yeah.
That why would you be scared of your own government? But I don't know. I feel like in our 200 and almost 50 years as a country, we have gotten, we're kind of slowly going down that slippery slope. We were founded by people who were fleeing government.
Yeah.
And we're slowly letting it creep in. Like, yep, this is the way it goes. Like,
Yeah.
You let them, you give them an inch, they take a mile. You're like, oh, we'll let the government oversee this, and we'll have oversight on this. And then before you know it, they're just completely out of control. But yeah, man, it just makes you fighting mad. Like it, and this is where I can get myself in trouble. But it's like it makes you want to like go join this guy and be like, hell no, tell him like this is my property.
Yeah,
I'm taking a stand. I'm not paying this fine. Y'all aren't going to seize this property like from my cold dead hands. Like,
well,
no.
That's why we need to get to 100 reviews on the podcast and keep it growing, and then talk dirt to me. We can grow this thing. We just get to about Joe Rogan's level with this podcast, and then we can go fight this shit. That's what, like, I only halfway joke about that. It's pretty wild. Like, if you grow something big enough, man, you do have, as much as I hate to say this, because it pains me to say this, but celebrities have power. Yeah. Like, to be a celebrity, like if, I like Chris Pratt. He actually has a farm. Have you seen his little farm and stuff?
Yeah.
He'll slaughter his lambs and he'll put up a picture of the lamb, and then he'll put up a picture of the meat. And like he enjoys doing that.
Triggering people.
Yeah. And so, like, I like Chris Pratt. Dude, if you had a guy like Chris Pratt go on his Instagram page and he made a post about this dude here, the amount of exposure it would bring to that case would be huge. Like, to the point where then something would have to be brought to attention. And that's where I'm like, man, dude, that's what we need to do with this podcast. Like, look, we're very proud of the American thing. And we've said before, like, we don't know that there's much more American thing than to really almost be anti-government.
Yeah.
Like, that is American at your core. So it's like, man, we just keep growing this thing, and then we can be the voice for them guys or help stir some action for them. Because, hell, I'm fine with rattling the cage. I like doing that.
I've listened to multiple podcasts where it was people. There was a guy in Illinois, I think I mentioned it on here in the previous episode, that just so happened he was a lawyer. And they got in trouble for putting in some drainage tile on some land that was classified as a wetland. And so people aren't familiar, drainage tile, as the name kind of implies, helps to drain the land. And if it's really wet, it allows you to farm it. And it had never been classified a wetland, but the government comes in there after the fact and like slaps this enormous fine on them. And that guy admitted, he's like, had I not been a lawyer, like we could not have fought this because we would not have been able to afford to fight it. And it was just like, and again, I don't remember the exact details, but it was just, it made you fight mad when he laid out the facts and like that the government, they can just do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Like if you don't call them on it, like they just do what they want. And he's like, 99% of the time when that happens to a farmer, they have to tuck their tail, pay the fine, do whatever, and just take their medicine because they don't have the ability to fight it. And but he happened to be a lawyer and had the means and the ability to do it. And the government was completely in the wrong.
Yeah. Well, man, there was one other thing I feel like I was gonna say on here before we wrap up. Crap, I can't remember.
Man, we're getting old.
We are getting old. Can't remember stuff.
Yeah. But, yeah.
I'll let you take the company tonight. I don't remember our last one.
I can tell you when I pull up let me pull up my list.
Start off with 2 words. Made in America.
My favorite 2 words. I'm going to go to my list because I've got several companies and decide which one we're going to talk about. Sylvan Arms was last week.
All right.
I'm going to go with, actually it was a company we mentioned to an extent last week talking about Agzaga. they've kind of sponsored by YouTube to an extent. And the sprayer that I was using, that we talked about, the discount code and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's Ag Spray.
Okay. Yeah.
They make, and I'm sure they make them for all kinds of other applications, but this is a particular one for a side-by-side or a UTV. You put in the back end, of the bed, and they've got different booms you can attach it to and whatnot. But yeah, made in the USA. A good company. I'll give a shameless plug. If you do go shop from them, agzaga.com, use the discount code HCF10.
Save yourself 10%.
10% off. But yeah, that was pretty cool. They are an American company. Agzaga is,
even though the name sounds Indian.
Logan doesn't like the name, but and of course they sell a variety of products. But that particular product, Ag Spray, is also made in the USA.
Well, there you go. I did end up buying a sprayer, but I ended up buying like a little 25-gallon sprayer just at Tractor Supply. Because I looked on the Agzaga, but they had the tank, but they didn't have the boom that I needed.
Didn't have the boom you needed, yeah. And, I sprayed with mine actually again yesterday, and that's actually my plans for this weekend is to. It's kind of one of those things like spraying pasture. You think, I probably need to spray 2 or 3 tanks, and I get out there and I'm like, oh Lord, I might need to spray 22 or 23 tanks.
Yeah.
Like I spray one tank, and I'm like, the more I look, just like with the trees down for the storm. The more I look, the more thistles I see.
Yeah. Well, I got this ideally because we planted pumpkins, and I spaced the rows apart wide enough because the sprayer I bought, it's got a 12-foot span on the boom, but I can fold the booms in, and it'll be probably, 6 foot wide or so, and that's about what I need. And I'm going to spray Roundup and Dual in between the rows because I got plastic. I laid plastic down and cut holes in there, and we planted the pumpkins. Did you get them
planted? Yeah.
Yep. We planted pumpkins, cauliflower, squash, zucchini. I got some cucumber, which I'm going to put up some panels so they can climb. I'm kind of just trying those out. We got some cantaloupe. We just kind of put a variety of stuff, but we've planted over... Hell, at this point, we've planted probably 600 pumpkins.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to spray Dual in between. That'll hold the grass. And it was pretty cool, actually. Yes, we planted last night. We went out there and planted till about 10 o'clock last night because it was hot as Satan's nutsack. But where I'd cut the holes and, like, under the black plastic, it was wet. Like, that plastic, it gets super hot. Because it's black, but it holds the moisture under there.
Yeah.
And it was like there was water underneath a little bit under the plastic. And I've watched some videos, man, and that plastic, because of the water and the heat, it actually makes the plants grow like a whole lot bigger. Like they do really well. So I'm pretty excited to see how it does. But yeah, I don't remember. And that sprayer I bought at Tractor Supply might even be an Ag Max. What'd you say, Ag Max?
Ag Spray.
Ag Spray. It may be an Ag Spray, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
So, well, guys, we appreciate you. Like I said, let's get to 100 reviews. We're very appreciative of our audience that listens, man. We got went from 48 to 51 in one episode. That's pretty darn good. Like,
yeah.
I know guys that have been doing this. I know some guys that have been podcasting for probably 1 or 2 years longer than we have, and they're like right at 50 reviews. So we're doing pretty darn good.
Yeah.
But we don't want to just do good, man. We want to make ag great again. So
we have the best listeners. We have the smartest audience of the ag podcasters.
I agree.
I'm gonna go ahead and say that.
I agree.
It's just a different breed that we attract.
That's right. And we're full steam ahead. So let's get to 100. Let's keep pumping this up. Everybody go buy you a Ace Ventura shirt tomorrow. I'll put this up. It won't be tomorrow for you guys. It'll be actually today.
Yeah, because this episode will drop on Friday. And I should get the YouTube up by tomorrow evening. I know last week's we were late because I was going to Kentucky. I didn't get back. We didn't have it all, everything where I could get it up. We got back in town late Sunday night. So,
well, all right, guys. Appreciate y'all. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, hit subscribe. Hey, and follow us on Instagram, Talk Dirt Podcast. Share. We put up a lot of clips on there. You can share those clips and hit that like button. Leave us a rating and a review, and we'll catch you next week.
see you then.